afternoon, parents. I'm Priyanka Khandelwal Gupta, founder of Progressive School in Pune. So today we talk about this research paper which was presented in Stanford, and they studied the families in Denmark to understand whether age 6 or 7 is right for children to start school. Now, in India, age 6 is the cutoff date that is mandated by the government now for a child to start standard 1. So what is the benefit if you put your child in standard 1 when he completes age 7, he or she? There are a couple of benefits to that. One, it's called relative maturity. Now, naturally, a child who is 7 years old, if he or she is competing with the kids who are 6-year-old, obviously the child has a developmental advantage. We know as early childhood educators, we see that there is a huge difference seen in children every 6 months in their capabilities of reading, writing, learning, grasping, talking, communicating, thinking, a lot of things. So obviously, if the child is oldest in the class, he or she would have a big benefit over the other children who are much younger. So that's called relative maturity of the child. Second is absolute maturity. Now, when the child is 7 or 8, the child becomes more ready for formal schooling. So that's where the difference comes, that school means formal school after standard 1, where the child has to go for 8 hours. The environment in the school is more of bricks and walls and a table and chair, and he has to sit and he has to write, he has to read, he has to listen to what the teacher is saying for longer periods of time, which does not happen in preschool and kindergarten. It's more hands-on. The whole environment is more colorful, more laid back. If the child wants to lie down, ideally that's how preschool should be. They can lie down. They have options of picking and choosing what they want to learn today. There are a lot of equipment, play equipment that are used in kindergarten, which all reduces from formal schooling. So the child is developmentally more ready to go through all of this for 8 hours every single day. So that's called absolute maturity. So because of both these things, the child has an edge over other schools. So a study also says that these kids who are older in the class, they will score much better in their math and science in grades 4 and grade 8. Clearly because their brain is a little more advanced, more developed than the other competitors. Now, obviously, when you look at percentile, so suppose if the classroom is being graded based on percentile, which is like, the top persons, whatever the top child is scoring, based on that, the other kids will get ranked. Obviously, the older kids would have more chances of being on the top, clearly because of the developmental advantage. So these are a couple of advantages, and the most important advantage that this particular study has come up with is that older kids, if they start school at a later age, they have more of self-regulation. One of the reasons for this is, so they don't say that keep the kids home till the age of 7. What they are meaning is, when the child starts formal schooling at 7, so he has more time of learning from playway method. So he has more time spent in kindergarten, where they have more time to play, more time to explore, more time for pretend play, which helps a lot in the child's self-regulation, which is clearly seen when these particular kids are tested between age 7 and 11. The cases of ADHD are much lesser, hyper activity are much lesser in these kids. So that is another advantage. Also, there is one little disadvantage. Now, obviously, if a child is only 5.5 and he has been in standard 1 and he's been competing with brighter kids, obviously he has to work harder. So when the kids who have started school at a later age, when they are tested for their IQ, when they all turn 18, right? So the older child may be in first year of college and the other kids might be in 12th standard, but that doesn't matter. Standard doesn't matter. When you look at age 18 and you do an IQ test on these kids, you will see that there will be a negative effect on the IQ of the kids who have started school late. Now, there are a lot of studies who, again, nowadays we all know that IQ does not matter so much. So IQ was a thing of past, and there are a lot of studies, a lot of psychologists have come up with this thing that IQ is not directly related to your success in life, because there are other skills, more of soft skills, which are more important to succeed in life. So that stress is gone from us parents. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about the IQ thing going one point up or down. So another aspect of that study is, if you go deep into that study, you'll see that 95%, over 95% of children in Denmark go to daycare from the age of, so their daycare is 1 to 3 years of age, they have family daycares, and then 3 to 6, they have structured daycare where the coordinators are experts in early childhood education. So you see, even if they don't go for preschool from a very young age, they're already going to daycare. So that fosters the child's independence, social skills, which are all the objectives of early childhood education. So inferring from that article that sending your child to playgroup or any outside institute at the age of 2.5 is not right. That's the wrong inference. The study is not talking about that at all. So the question is whether 6 or 7. Another thing that the study says is a lot of people from higher socio-economic backgrounds on purpose send their kids late to school. This is called academic redshirting. They do it on purpose because obviously the child is developmentally higher, better. So for him or her to score more in exams, it is much easier. So that is the reason, that's the concept called academic redshirting. Now coming to what should we do? Should we wait for a year or should we take the right decision? In India or any school, any part of the world, just look at what is the cutoff date and take your decision accordingly. If your child is 5.5 in June, when the school starts, April, June, when generally the school starts in India, don't put him in standard 1 already. Now, thankfully, because of the law, schools will only not allow, but you as parents need to be extra sure about this thing, that do not send your child in standard 1 if he or she is 5.5 or 5 years, 9 months. Do not. Wait for a year, repeat senior KG, and then start standard 1. One, because of all the benefits that I've already spoken about, and most importantly, it puts a little pressure on a child. Not every child is able to cope up with the competition. So later, or specifically in standard 1 and 2, when reading starts suddenly, a lot of kids face issues, which is absolutely natural. So if you are putting your child who's 5.5 with kids who are 6.5, so obviously they're much better readers, mostly because of their age. That doesn't mean that your child is not good enough. It's not that. It's just because of the developmental advantage that they have. So if you have to repeat. And another thing is, you can only repeat in nursery, junior KG or senior KG because your child is young. He or she doesn't understand. But the moment your child is in first, and especially from second standard onwards, you will not be able to repeat a class because the child will not be able to take it. For him or her, it will be a very embarrassing thing to repeat a class because of the social pressure, peer pressure. So do not do that because it might hamper negatively. So if you have a chance, repeat in nursery, junior KG, senior KG, and ensure that your child is 6+. Whichever month he or she is starting school, the child should be 6+ when he goes to standard 1. I hope this is useful for you. I hope this helps you take the right decisions and your child enjoys learning throughout his or her life. Till then, bye.